Welcome to the Religiously Offensive Podcast.
Giving him a ring.
How you like this?
A ring.
Is it good?
It's pretty good. Yeah, man.
Does it make you want to talk? Just about anything?
Kind of.
All right, here we go. Calling in Justine.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Officially on the pod.
Stanky.
Oh, we're
Can you hear
rolling.
us?
We're rolling, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. How does my audio sound?
It sounds
like
you're on a phone.
Nice. Well, I am technically using a Bluetooth thing, but maybe that's also trash. I don't know.
Yeah. Is it possible to hold it up to your? Yeah, it's probably a pain in the butt to do that. Are you using AirPods?
No, no, I'm using my normal Bluetooth one that I use. I can try to switch over to just the phone and see if that's any different.
Yeah, if it is, we can try it. Just see if it's.
Take 2 seconds. Hello. Is this any better?
A little bit. It's a little
Really?
better. A little bit.
Fascinating.
It's not really noticeable though.
Yeah, I was
You can
saying.
switch back. It's fine.
Okay, sweet.
I heard zero difference.
I noticed because I noticed the nuance. So, all right.
Well, what's good, my people?
What's up,
Oh,
dude?
you know, we've got my buddy for everybody. This is Scotty Tabuso.
Hello.
Tabuso?
Hello. Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So Scotty and I are friends. We go to the same church, and we play on stage together.
We do,
He's a
yeah.
drummer, and I'll play like bass or whatever, and we have fun playing
Yeah.
worship band. So
Sick.
yeah. So he out of the kindness of his heart came in because I know Luke and a lot of other guys aren't here today. So wanted to thank him for being here. Thanks, Justin, for calling in. I imagine it's just I creatively imagine that you're on the beach wearing a sombrero, drinking a margarita right now.
I wish. That's where it came from, but...
Okay. You kept the
years
sombrero
ago,
on, right, though?
Oh, yeah.
What do you... You didn't hear me. What did you say?
No, I was another year or two, because I actually have decent service down here on internet, but probably another couple years, and then you can actually do something like that.
Do a little video call in?
Why not?
That'd be fun. That's
Or
more...
Interesting.
we can all just do an episode from Mexico.
That's
Yeah,
better.
let's just take the whole squad down and we'll
Yeah.
just, remote it.
Yeah, do a little
You know what's
portable
interesting?
setup.
That'd be kind of cool.
It'd be so sick.
Something funny about that I've noticed, I don't know if it's just all places down here, but their light switches are horizontal, which makes no sense, and then their outlets are the opposite.
The
They just
opposite.
switch them.
Like up and
Like
down.
direction.
Oh, you mean like the ground plug is on top? The third prong
No,
is on top?
So, if you're plugging in your laptop charger, the big block, instead of it sitting up and down, it's like a sandwich, sideways into the wall.
Oh, so everything's sideways.
Yeah, it's like they just took the light switches and were we're just going to switch these and flip them and the outlet. We're turn everything inside for no reason. It's just completely not practical.
It's like when China blatantly copies a design that someone else has, and they're just like, it's not the same.
Yeah. Like Dr. Thunder for Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Thunder, that's it. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, so just wanted to real quick maybe start with Scotty's story. Scotty, I guess we all kind of went around initially in some of our beginning stuff and just talked about, where we stand as far as belief in God and all that stuff. So I guess you could start with that and then just maybe tell us a little bit about how you, I guess, found the church and your story related to that real quick.
Yeah, man. So pretty much I'm Scott, 28 years old, firm believer of Christ. It was probably I got saved back in the day, 2007, and long story short, I had a buddy of mine that passed away, and then from him passing away, it led me to like learning more about like Christ and like what's after this. So I started doing that, and I got myself involved in church and in the band, and then ended up getting saved. Yeah, pretty much that's my.
So is your family already going to church and stuff? Or?
So my mom was going to church for a little bit when she first moved to Florida, and so she was going to church.
So where's she originally from?
Well, originally she's from the Philippines. Okay. She moved to California.
So from California, she moved here.
Yeah, right. In 2001. Yeah. So
this is all stuff I think you've told me, but
yeah,
for everyone listening, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So my mom was going to church. I wasn't. My friend passed away. I was like done. Like I gave up, and eventually my mom was like, "Hey, how about you just come to church with me?" I ended up going, and then I just started going to church, twice a week, and then I picked up Christ.
Yeah, picked him up. Side of the road.
Yeah.
Cool. And then you just kind of got involved in the band. That kind of drew you in. And
yeah. So I just started banging on like washing machines, and my mom was kind of like, "I'm going to buy him some drumsticks and a drum pad." And then I just started playing drums, and yeah.
And what was that, like 2 years ago?
No, man, it was longer than that. I'm probably like 12, 13 years.
All right. Since we're friends, I'm going to give you some shit.
It's okay. I'm all about it, dude. All about it.
Nice. Well, again, glad you could join us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess today we're gonna dive in here. We're gonna talk about QAnon and conspiracy theories and just kind of anything that falls into that boat, right? And the reason we're talking about it on this podcast is really because I think that people in the church are fairly susceptible to these kinds of conspiracy theories for some reason. I don't know why. I guess a lot of it related to QAnon is just kind of related to the whole political thing where you have Trump, versus everyone, the Democratic side and stuff. And, just all like, it's people are like kind of pushing that Trump's fighting a lot of these QAnon people and all this hero story that the church just buys into. And I, as far as just kind of a definition, Justin, did you look up anything as far as like just a definition? Because I have some other stuff. I was going to talk about specific conspiracies related to it, but just maybe you can kick us off there.
Yeah. So for the most part, QAnon kind of started as like kind of political, like activist type group where, you had certain people kind of accusing certain prominent, like, it was primarily like a far right wing. You had a lot of people accusing like certain Democratic politicians or certain like Democratic financiers, kind of like the George Soroses of the world, whatever, and just basically saying they're part of this kind of satanic cabal that was essentially like involved in primarily a lot of like human trafficking, especially with children, and then there was a cannibalistic element where they believe that, I don't know if you've ever seen like do you remember that Something Grove? It was like this like Alex Jones video that came out where it was like, he like snuck into this thing and had the video of all these guys wearing those weird like bird hats and like they were doing all kind of weird sex stuff
right
on stage, like, and everyone's watching or whatever. So believe what you want about all that stuff, but it kind of ties into this element of like, and then that's where we got the whole thing about, like, I mean, it probably wasn't super popular, but the whole thing of drinking like the blood of children and things like that to try to live longer or whatever. So it kind of has like almost like an Illuminati vibe but it's a little more like geared around like, children, and obviously which is just disgusting.
So, and the other part of it, like, cause how this all started, I think was 4chan, right? So 4chan, for anyone who doesn't know, is like a completely anonymous forum website. And so, the Q just stands really, QAnon really just came from the I guess the username had his username Q, and then it's anonymous. So it was like QAnon, and that's the kind of where it came from. And really,
that actually does make sense.
Yeah. And so really what you could look at it as is like, this guy was like the like greatest troll ever. He was, I mean, cause he kind of like came out with all this stuff, these like bogus kind of stories, and they just kind of like grew and blew up, right? And what's dangerous about this is, and I know that like Rogan talks about this stuff, is that the thing that makes conspiracy theories so dangerous is that some of them are true. I mean, so like they bring up the whole, I think it was in Cuba, they were going to like bring down a whole 747 that wasn't full of people, but claim it was full of people and blame it on someone, right? So that actually was a thing. Like they were going to do that. And that, was a conspiracy that ended up being true.
Right.
So because you have these ones that are true, then people are like, well, what else could be true? And so you have all, you're just smirking because you're just like, this is scary. Yeah, it's scary. But then it's also, you get into these crazy stories, right? Where it's just like, oh, there's no way, right? And here there was like this, I think it was a paper just kind of studying this whole phenomenon by isdglobal.org. It's called QAnon and Conspiracy Beliefs. It's interesting because you get to these things that were actually, I mean, this is just a handful of the things that were talked about. So the first one was the Democratic primary was rigged to keep Bernie Sanders from winning. Now, that's probably the most believable one of any of these, because it's like they definitely did. I don't know, Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, they did not want that old man.
No, I mean,
we need the other old man in charge.
Yeah, well, because the other old man was willing to be a pawn, right? I guess that was kind of the idea, right? Okay, and hey, just so you know, any of these, we're absolutely trolling here. We're not saying that we 100% believe all of these or any of these. It's hilarious to talk about, I think. And, we can get into like the church and stuff like that in a little bit, but, so that's one of them, which, I mean, a lot of people do believe that. They said that it was like 35% of the people. Well, actually, let's go to the other graph, because that one's like just people that didn't even know what QAnon was, and they just heard these things and said they believed them. So this is the percent of people saying each conspiracy theories probably are definitely true, saying they had heard conspiracy before taking the survey. So that one was Bernie Sanders. 20% of the people think that's true. The government's trying to cover up the link between vaccines and autism. That's 11% of the people think that's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out about all that. That's pretty controversial. But global network of tortures and tortures and sexually abuses children in satanic rituals. 12% of the people believe that, who were brought this up. Vaccinations with tracking chips will later be activated by 5G cellular networks. It's 11%. Trump is secretly preparing a mass arrest of government officials and celebrities. That's 6% of the people believe that. The Mueller report was actually investigating a child sex trafficking network. That's 5% of the people believe that. The coronavirus is a hoax. 9% of the people believe that. That's unbelievable. Celebrities harvest androchrome from children's bodies. That's 6%. So 6%. So 6 out of 100 people that you see on the street believe that celebrities harvest adrenochrome from children's bodies. Just so you know, every 100 people, there's 6 of them. I mean,
wow.
It's
wow.
And it's an effort to look younger, right? It's the whole like thing where they, that celebrities drink kids' blood or whatever, right? Yeah. They talk about that. I mean, that's unreal. Like the fact that there's so many people that buy into this stuff. And I don't know. How does that hit you, Jess?
Well, like you said, I think the danger with it is that, like, you look at like some statistics that show like just even the approval rating for like Congress to most Americans, like they've got like, I don't even know what it is now, but it's in the toilet. Like it's like there's just this element of element for people where they're clearly just not happy with the way things are going. And then you have other things that happen where like, well, I don't know, maybe it's a simple question like this. Like some people, you probably figure out, what percentage of people believe that the government never lies to us and everything they do is genuinely for like our benefit. And then how many people think that the government is like just as shady as any other organization when people get in charge of with a lot of power, and it's ultimately, just becomes this Game of Thrones. Because, I think about something like with coronavirus, even the whole element of like, and obviously the Chinese government is on a whole nother level, obviously, but like where they're out here still telling the world like, no, it came from like that bat in the wet market, and everyone else is just like, bruh, like you were literally doing these tests in that area.
We're not buying it anymore.
Kind of thing.
You know, there was
like,
probably,
so when,
you know, it was probably that one guy that was like, hadn't heard that the whole lab leak theory became legit, and he's still trying to like push it. You know, it's just like, no, it was a bat. And everyone else in the room is like, all right, doesn't someone want to tell him?
Dude, because we got like our leaders in America still like being like, well, we're not sure. Like we don't know. And it's like, for something that's this big that shut down the entire world, it's like,
it's
we
important
should figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just crazy to me that like China can come out and just be like, you're not allowed to investigate this unless we're monitoring. And
talk about shady.
so it's like on some level, you know, so people are like looking at this, just being like, this is absurd. And then just like you said, then you're just like, well, what else are they lying to us about? And then, I mean, for me, half of the fun is just like, I don't know. It's like, it's kind of like, I'll dabble in the dark arts, go down this road every now and then. Like, this is kind of just like, it'd be kind of crazy if it really did happen. And then the dangerous thing is you get people with money who start making documentaries. Like, have you guys seen that Loose Change one about 9/11?
No. Let us in.
It was on Netflix. It was on Netflix for a while, bro. I watched this documentary, and by the end of it, I'm like, I think those dudes really did it up. Like the government was really behind that. Like, that's sketchy.
But you know, it's like, funny. People say that about Flat Earth too. Like, they can get into, if they literally watch no opposing opinion and then just go through the YouTube rabbit trail of all these videos that have all this whatever sketchy evidence against.
There's a whole Flat Earth convention every year. Like, I watched the guy make a documentary on it because he was mostly trolling them. And he like went and acted like he was about it, but like you listen to these people and it's like, bro, there's a lot of them. Well, there's not a lot, but I mean, they have a conference every year, and like, I mean, they're invested.
And I tell you what, like it's, you know, think what you want about Bill Maher, but he was very strategic when because he's always been against, you know, Christians and stuff. But it's just funny because like he would do these videos where he go interview Christians, and like they'd find the craziest Christians to interview. It would always be like these ladies that would just be like, yeah, do you know Trump's coming in on a white horse and he's going to save us from it's in Revelation, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, you're just like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, what? I mean, they literally found the most extreme people they could. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this. And there were people that are like, walk away from that, maybe never meet a Christian the rest of their life and just think that's how they all are. It's just insane. Right. It's insane. But yeah. And, you know, it's crazy because as it relates to Christianity specifically, so I mean it talks about, you know, in the New Testament, you know, Jesus warning his followers to see that no one leads you astray. Paul urges people to let no one deceive you with empty words, let no one deceive you in any way. And John says, little children, let no one deceive you. So it's just like, let no one deceive you. But it's so funny because if it's like coming from someone that's like on your team or in your tribe, it's just like, let the deceiving begin. I'm all ears. You know what I mean? I mean, it's, I don't understand, but it is interesting because, I mean, you've had people close to you, Justin, right? Believe in some of this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what purpose do we think this, like, so if we believe in this, like, what are we going to do? I mean, it's dangerous if not anything, right? Because if you really think people are drinking kids' blood, you're going to do whatever you can to stop. Like, if you legitimately think that, right? Like, of course you would try to protect kids, but it's just like, I mean, how does it even get that far? I mean, it's just, it's kind of like a social perversion. And I just don't know. It's crazy.
Like it's like anything else. It's just like a weird club that people can belong to. Like, I remember, you know, just in my own, you know, kind of personal journey and everything, like I'll you know, just talk with people about, kind of just questioning everything, but it's like, I'm happy because I think that ultimately I believe that wrestling with these questions is going to lead me to a good place. And so, like I was even talking with my uncle about this the other day, and he had this, I forget who the quote's from, but it was just brilliant. And it's someone else, but he basically just said, like, you know, when you start in certainty, you often end up in doubt. But if you start in doubt, you'll often end in certainty. where it's just like,
That's a good one.
it's just this weird thing where, because and then I can remember other conversations I had with people, or actually with someone that we all know. And it was kind of this thing where, I'm kind of questioning, my faith and religion and, what everything means. And it's interesting because there's like, you can hear like this just need for people to feel like they're on the right team kind of a thing.
Yeah. And
it's like, that was like the legit words. It's almost like, not that they're trying to like resave me, but it's almost like, hey, this is helpful for me to help me realize like I'm on the right team. And I'm like, I don't think that's the point of all of this. Like, I don't think it's like tribalism. I don't think God wanted it to end in tribalism where we just all like retreat to our corners and yell at each other. Like,
well,
I'm
people,
right, you're wrong.
Yeah. No, well, people search for validation, people who,
so I think,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying that people who like have a doubt in what they believe, they just search for other people that believe what they believe, and it like makes them feel better. Because they never, all these people are thinking, we always talk about the third, secondhand faith, right? How people don't really go out and investigate for themselves, what their faith is or what it means to them. They get it from other people like pastors or whatever they call their spiritual leaders or mentors. And then when it's tested, they don't have anything to stand on. They just go and say, well, all these other people believe this too. That's kind of their argument, so they just find their validation in things that really just, have no solid foundation. And it's funny because like all this stuff, and there are verses and things in here. This one article from Christianity Today it just quotes, and it's just like, we need to remember that QAnon, we're in a battle with forces of spiritual darkness. Now, I don't like to get all super spiritual about, again, like Satan behind every door kind of thing, but it's just kind of the deceitful spirits and teachings of demons that Paul warned Timothy about in the first century are just as prevalent today. And it's interesting, but you could relate it to like what's going on with this kind of stuff, like the stuff that people choose to believe, because, but they don't see it as that, right? They see it as something that, they need to like grab onto, and they just need to like fight, I was in a conversation.
There's another element.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's another element where, like, even when you go to look into these things, it's like we don't even know where to go anymore for real, unbiased, just information.
Right.
Like, even when I was looking up, like, just little bit preparation for this.
It's not profitable to be unbiased, Justin.
When you type like anything into like Google, right? Like you can tell like all the results on the first page are like there's not anyone that's just trying to like just give blanket like information about like this is who they are, this is what they believe. It's literally everything is like this is the debunked, QAnon theory or whatever conspiracy you want to look at. Like it's like I think that's part of the issue is like half the people just look at that like and they consume just super biased information regardless of whether or not the actual truth is. Half of the people just consume it and take it as gospel, and you have all these other people who go to look at it and they're just like, see, like they're just trying to brainwash us. They're not giving us information. They're just telling us what to believe, and not trusting us to make the decision for ourselves. So it's even like, the news and the media like have no interest in just giving us raw information. It's like there's always a slant one way or the other, and then the negative part is, and we've touched on this before, but it's like the crazy, the negative. It's just like it's what's going to get us the views. So they got to get people like freaking out up in arms because they just need clicks and views to pay their bills. So it's like you also have people who really do have what I would consider like an ethical responsibility as far as like reporters to just actually like not bring your own bias into things and just genuinely just give information. Like we just don't really have that anymore. So it's like you have people that are essentially being weaponized by, voices one way or the other. And it's like anything in our culture now. It's like everything's become political because ultimately people just want power. And so, we're left with just these like ridiculous conversations where, again, like no one's willing to just, because my whole thing with conspiracies is just like, I don't really know that I really believe in any one for sure. Like, it's like, I think they're interesting to talk about just because it's like, I mean, why not? But like, people genuinely will get like worked up over this.
You believe we landed on the moon, Justin?
See, here we go. I'm open to all sides of the argument, but I don't know. I'm just saying it's a little sketchy we haven't been back.
I think it's wild that they said that we landed on the moon at that time period. Like I'm not saying we did it, but I feel like we did it eventually.
Again, I think Elon gave us the strongest argument you could ask for, and that's like Russia would have called us out on our bullshit if we didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they had all the reason to, right? I mean, they have the ability to see the moon, like from their, observant or telescopes or whatever, right? They would have completely called us out. So anyway, that's kind of what I stand on. I mean, all the other shit aside, right? Yeah. And so let me ask you one more thing, and then I'm going to ask just Gabby and Scotty to give us their thoughts. But what do you think? Why do you think Christians are especially susceptible to these kinds of conspiracy theories?
I think it can go back to some stuff, because a lot of these theories will kind of usher in kind of like also end times discussions where like, there's whole like eschatology is literally just a study of end times. So we create these entire like fields where people can just try to like, and it's, they'll say they're just studying it, but what you're really doing is you're trying to predict when it's going to go down. And
right.
like,
Which we talked about, like, what the hell's the point, right? I mean,
exactly. Like, the Bible is pretty clear. If you subscribe to that belief system, it says not even Jesus knows the hour that he's going to return. So it's like, there ain't no chance we're going to time this thing out. And then like when you read the scriptures, like kind of the way it outlines, the signs of the end times, it's like wars, rumors of wars, like famine, pestilence. You're like, well, that crap happens all the time. Like, especially in our world now, like
my thing
might be more prevalent.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and my thing is, and I was talking to someone this morning about this, some people close to me, and it's hard for me to understand, like, how, as a Christian, as a part of the church, as really a person, do you not understand that division is bad? Right? This was a political conversation I happened to be having this morning, but like, how do you not understand? Like, so if this can really be associated with nothing more than a rumor at this point, right? There's no hard evidence. You could claim they're covering it up, but whatever, right? There's no hard evidence. So, because of that, like, why are we sitting here trying to fight it, right? I mean, grabbing onto a rumor like that and running with it is completely the opposite of something that would be something that Christ would do, right? And if he's your example, then why are we grabbing on this thing that's just going to create more division? And that was it. The thing with politics is, like, some people just have these talking points that really are the people that are kind of like, based on one side. And I'm sure you two experience this too, where you have family members that just say things like that just regurgitated from stuff that they've heard, like, in their media and stuff. Mm-hmm. But and I don't know if it's because we live in a bigger city, we're exposed to a bunch of different kinds of viewpoints, people from other countries, other religions, things like that, where we're a little more like, we can understand people's perspective a little more. And then we go back and like hear some of the things that people say that we grew up, and you're just like, what? Like, you can't
just
say
roll
that.
your eyes and move on.
No, I know, exactly. But like, I happened to fight it, and I was just like, I was just talking to him. I was like, you know what? Like, regardless of what you believe, if it's opposite of what someone else believes, the goal is to come together and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's not your goal. Your goal is to like prove that you're right and to win. And it's just like, that's not productive. I mean, that's the whole reason we're doing this, is because we want to start conversations. We want people to start to talk about this stuff and not just like hide away in their corners at their keyboards and just join all these groups that think like they do. And so they can just continue to bitch online about everything, So, if for that reason alone, I would think that Christians would be very resistant to this kind of thing. But for some reason, the church, like, they're so grabbed onto politics, and they just love latching onto this division idea.
Yeah. I mean, the human nature of like that argumentative type stuff, for sure. I mean, that's why, like, if you want to get into the more spiritual kind of jargon, it would be like the political spirit in the sense of like, well, let's just get people like worked up and just arguing all the time. And like exactly like you said, like the point of this is to put the weapons down and actually like lead with love and compassion. And like I feel like a broken record. I say it all the time, but it's like if we don't first try to understand someone before demanding that they understand us, like it's like we're setting a terrible example. If we're supposed to be the ones we're supposed to be like the light of the world type of a thing. But then you look at like our culture, our leaders, our political leaders, like look at what happens in Washington D.C. Like it's a freaking dumpster fire. These people like can't even be civil adults. Like, you know, this, like obviously the things that have happened in the last couple of weeks, just like horrific with some of these shootings, and especially in the, you know, the elementary school in Texas. And you have our like politicians literally just arguing like children. And like you have like, and it goes to both sides. But I was watching a clip where some guys just basically like, you would rather defend the killer than the innocent children. You're like, well, clearly no one's trying to do that, bro. It's like, why would you even say something like that at a time like this?
Well, the other part of
like,
that,
our leaders who we look to, like these are like people supposed to be setting an example, and like they can't even like find a way to be adults.
No,
so
I know.
Like, I mean, why do you expect like, you know, if our leaders can't do it, well, we're screwed.
Well, that goes both ways. I think that if you hear news like that and your immediate reaction is to start defending gun rights before thinking
100%.
about the kids and their families, I mean, that's a problem.
Right.
And there are definitely people like that. And I think it's them and the other ones that are calling people like that are stirring the pot. And then once things you've acknowledged everything and all that, and then you can start talking about the actual issues. You know, Canada just imposed a lot of these gun restrictions and stuff just because of the Texas shooting.
I heard a little bit about that. What they do?
Put a freeze on.
Yeah, on the AR stuff, they're permanently limiting magazine capacities. I think they're doing more with psych eval or something. They're buying back guns, which I
wonder if we made note on that at all.
Huh?
I wonder if we made note on that at all.
What, like our country?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I doubt it.
See, now I see it as I'm a gun owner. Okay, I have double digits amounts of guns. Okay, we'll say that. But the thing is, the thing is though, I mean, I don't like the NRA is just an extreme, right? They just, I mean, if it was up to them, anyone could buy a gun, right? And it's okay that we talk about this because this is really just, you know, this is a popular issue and I think it should be addressed. But when you talk about like people that are just like all gung ho about, I mean, seriously, like I started getting emails about like from like gun deals and stuff like the couple days after this thing happened. And I was like sick to my stomach. And I was like, I know what they're doing because they're thinking that all these restrictions are going to happen. So buy your guns now, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I'm just like, I'm almost like, how can you send this out right now? How is that like okay to you? Right. You know, and again, I am a gun owner, you know, I mean, I'm not like, because it's like you almost have to like prove that you are who you say you are. Like, so you're not like seeming like you're just some like insurgent, but it's just, but at the same time, it's just like, well, I mean, I have no problem with psych evals. Like before people, like even a buyback program, I don't care if people want to sell their guns to the government. Who cares? Like, you know, I mean, if you think money's more important, I think people that just collect guns and just don't have a use for them or never go shoot them, even for sport or hunting or anything, like, why do you need them? I mean, you're basically just like, you have a stockpile of weapons that you're never going to use and they're just there for someone to break in and steal. Like, I don't know.
Especially like, I mean, I get it. Like, there's a whole argument of like, if you're 18 and you're old enough to go to war and die for your country, it's hard to say like, okay, you're not allowed to own a weapon. I mean,
you're not allowed to buy an alcohol till you're 21. Let's talk about that.
Right. Well, the sad reality is that today's 18-year-olds, like, I mean, the average 18-year-old should never own.
But they put those 18-year-olds through like multiple tests and exercises before they send them out to.
They have training. Training,
right? Right.
Which includes psychological evaluations and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. My whole point was going to be like, you know, if you're like less than 21, like, because the problem with wasn't the Texas shooter, like he walked in.
He was 18. He turned 18.
Yeah,
he
in high school.
And then he went back the next day.
Yeah, he was in high school. He shot his grandma, and then he went and did all that at the school.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, like if someone's buying a weapon right after they turn 18, like they should be going through a lot of red tape to like prove that they are like capable.
Well,
like,
it's almost like anyone. So when I got my first gun, I went through the concealed carry class. It taught me how to safely handle it, how to shoot, right? Like all the things I needed to know. You could argue that or more should be required to even own a gun, or to buy a gun, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that.
Well, and any sane person would be fine with that.
Right. I mean, to drive a car, typically, you can just take a test now, but like at a certain age, especially, you had to like go through classes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped doing
that's why I think in our current world, it's like it's bananas that 18-year-old kids can just go get a gun. Like, especially like, it doesn't take a ton of I haven't done a ton of digging, but like, it seems like this kid was clearly like not okay. Like,
no, he was bullied and stuff, which is a different thing too. Like a 30-minute dive into this kid's like history and social media would be like, yep, this is the kind of person that doesn't need a weapon. Yeah.
Well, he was in like, I forgot where I heard it, but he was in like chat rooms, like bragging to girls that, or not even bragging, but saying that he was going to go shoot up a school, or even telling the girls that like he was going to go to their school and shoot their school up. And it was reported, I forgot what the platform was that in the chat rooms that he was doing this on, but like it was reported to that platform, and I guess just nothing happened from it.
Didn't do anything. Well, that's what's crazy is like if our phones and our like people are like censoring us to the level that like if I talk about like Beanie Babies, I'll get an ad for a Beanie Baby. Like if we're doing that and we're not even like censoring platforms for like clearly violent people, like I understand that like speech, like I personally don't believe that like speech is violence, but
that's tough. That's tough because like
free speech. I mean, that's what makes America America. But like ultimately,
well, yeah. The crazy thing is like how many times is someone like, I want to kill him. You know what I mean? Like just about some random person because they're mad or something, and their phone's right there.
Yeah.
And then the phone picks it up, right?
Or even like, I guess not so much.
That's different. Like, but if you're like searching for guns and chatting, right?
If you're posting about this stuff, I'm like,
how was that not alerted to some type of government?
Or at least like
they found out Joe Exotic
government
threatened
overreach.
Carol Baskin.
Not Carol. Yeah, I mean, I'm not big on government overreach, but like we should probably have a list of like young people who say like really like jacked up things on the internet. Just because like, I can think crazy thoughts, but it's a whole different level of crazy if I'm going to put it on the internet for everyone to see for all the time. Like that's just like screw loose, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially when you're saying things like that could potentially have a consequence in the future. It's almost like as an FBI, like granted, I can't imagine how overrun they are with all this random, leads they have to track down.
Yeah.
But it's almost like we should spend more money on that specific type of intelligence organization to where you're keeping track of people like, hey, this kid's talking like he wants to take his own life. And then at that point, you put him on a list, not only for suicide watch, but like, who's he trying to take with him?
Well, and then if that person goes to try to buy a weapon, like that's helpful information. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. I mean, and we can theme this podcast, we can title it, with this too, because I think this is really important and I think it's relevant. And again, it's just like not trying to like the government. And that's one of the things too, I got into this morning. It was like people trying to take guns away. It's like no politician has ever said we're going to take the guns away. Like that's like all these media people making people scared. Like you can't take the guns away.
Beto did say it, but he's an idiot. We don't have to count him.
Okay, well, yeah, the idiots are one thing, but like, I mean, literally, like, okay, Biden has never said we're going to take guns away, right? And it's just, and that's one of the things I hate. Like it's like. This is like, hey guys, you can have conservative ideas and principles and stances or whatever you want to have, right? But as soon as like you hear someone trying to like fearmonger, that's when you should stop listening because it's not going to get you anywhere and you're just going to get scared about everything. So with the gun thing, it's just like, yeah, I mean, they're not going to take everyone's guns away. Okay. I'm just saying, why don't we have more restrictions about this whole thing?
More protocols, more steps to. I mean, how important is it for you to have it?
Dude, and I think 95% of the people in this country would agree with that. The problem is no one is coming to the table. They hear something that to get triggered, they shoot a response back, and then it's like no productive conversations ever had, right? But when you sit down with people, and you and I know people who are combative, you know, sometimes when they talk and stuff, but like when you sit down with people, you really find out it's like we agree on 90% of stuff, you know, and it's just
no one wants your guns,
but no one. Well, yeah, and it's just like it's just like, but people are unwilling to have conversations because they make so many assumptions about people on the other side of the aisle because they just believe everything they hear on, you know, radio or news, you know, networks, and they never take time to talk to people,
right?
And so that's one of the biggest things that I just can't stand.
Yeah, I hear the same thing.
This is one topic. Sorry, go ahead, guys.
No, I was just going to say, I hear the same thing. It always goes back to, they can't take the guns from us. But it's just like, no one wants, like, your guns. We just don't want you to, like, kill our kids.
Yeah, and even if they do a buyback, they're not trying to take anything. It's just like they're giving you a choice. Like, hey, you can sell us your gun if you want.
Right. Or you can go through these steps.
And for a lot of people who don't like know how to safely sell a gun, but could use the money, that could actually be beneficial, especially today, right? Sure. You know, people probably have all kinds of guns they were either handed down or whatever they have no use for.
Right.
They don't want to sell it to a criminal on accident, so they just have it. It's just like, what if there was a way people could just, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, this might be
interesting.
a whole different. This might kind of be a whole different kind of conversation of itself. But
it always is.
But like I was listening to someone talk about it, and like just for example, like in Israel and Jerusalem, obviously Middle East, it's very like contentious and just obviously it's just a different world and place to live. But like what they basically did was like what the terminology was, we just hardened all the schools. So like one entrance, one exit, like always guarded, and teachers had like concealed carries, like whatever. And so regardless how you feel about that, end of the day, it's like what the specific thing with Texas, we saw with Sandy Hook, it's like it's just a different level of evil when you can shoot children. Like I don't understand. Like that is just disgusting.
Yeah, it's a different level of unhinged for sure.
And like the sad thing is, it's like to me, it's like when I think about someone who could do something like that, that's like the biggest like cowardly thing, because it's like you're going to the softest place to people who have no ability to defend themselves. And it's like part of, like, I agree, because part of the challenge is, especially with this whole conversation, is like I think the last statistics, like there's almost one gun to every. I think guns might outnumber humans in America now.
They
like,
do for sure.
Well over 300 million guns.
Yeah.
So it's like the problem is we can make guns as hard as possible to get, but someone who's going to do something bad, like. I mean, I agree. Make it hard to get, but it's like the challenge for me is like if someone knows that when I go into this school, there's going to be people shooting back at me immediately. Like they might think twice.
There's 20%.
When I think about this,
there's 20% more guns than people.
Aren't there like law, or is it not like legit police officers that are at school? I feel like at my schools,
I think they were. I mean, like,
didn't we have someone always on? Do they not do that anymore? I mean, maybe, I guess, I don't remember elementary school having one. Definitely remember just middle school, high school. Maybe that's just because, like, that's when people started, like, getting in fights and stuff.
Right. But I remember they only had, like, one or two cops.
But I mean,
you know?
Yeah, but even like, you have someone on site that has a weapon on them that are trained.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so with what happened in the Texas thing, it's like, evidently he went in, like, one of the back doors. So it's like we have all these entrances.
Right.
And if you got one guy on site, I mean,
and he's just posted up at the front door.
You lock yourself.
You have two guys. You have a front door, back door, and there's a guy at both. Yeah, I mean, you could probably eliminate a lot of stuff, which limits the designs of schools.
But I heard the Texas thing is a mess, though, and just in regard to the law enforcement and how, I mean, there was one mother that like pulled up and just straight up ran into the school and went to both of her kids' classrooms to make sure that they were safe. And she said there was zero law enforcement on the campus with her. No one ran in there with her. And she heard, still heard gun firing. Like, it was still live. It was active. And she ran into the school to get her kids out, and she ran out with her kids.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. Like, wasn't that the one where, like, there was a dude getting his hair cut and he heard about it and he literally just, like, snagged his barber's shotgun and ran straight to the school and, like, went inside and started, like, going at the guy? Like,
I heard that his daughter went to that school as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he just, like, got a gun and just went in there. And
yeah,
I probably would too when my kids went there. That's insane.
crazy.
Right.
How do you feel about so Rachel, how do you feel about her having a gun?
Well, I mean, if she went through the proper training, I know, or just with her personally, she wouldn't feel comfortable carrying a gun. I mean, that's just not something she wants.
She's a school teacher, I guess, FYI.
Yeah. And I mean, and just knowing her friends and stuff, I think 50% of teachers don't feel comfortable carrying a gun. Maybe they would feel more comfortable if they had the training and just knowing why they were, like, why, right? And maybe if they got paid more, I mean, shoot,
Well, that's part of it. So, yeah, I don't think everyone should have to. And it's like more, because they've already started doing this, I think, in like Arizona, Utah, where it's like if a teacher goes through the proper training and wants to, like, they can conceal carry, and they do get paid more. So it's kind of just like I think it's ridiculous to force people to do it, but, you know, if it's there, something, because it's a horrible conversation to have.
Letting certain teachers choose, like, whoever does feel comfortable, right? You don't necessarily have to.
Like, it's the worst conversation to have, but it's like, you know, we have guns, like, personally, we have guns in our house, and, like, I hope I never have to use them. But, like, worst case scenario, if I do get in a position where someone's coming in with a weapon, I'm gonna be pretty, like, I'm gonna be freaking out if I don't have a weapon as well. Like, that's the unfortunate part is, like, you know, I don't know. It's an impossible conversation because it's just like the good people with guns never want to have to use them. But it's like when a bad guy with a gun shows up, if we don't have good guys with guns, we're in trouble.
Sure.
Kind of a thing. But yeah, I don't know. Different conversation.
Yeah. No,
I personally think that, I mean, yeah, teachers should carry, but I feel like just add more cops to, like, or like security for a school. Because I've seen videos of teachers fighting students because they, like, made fun of their, like, mom or something. You know, like, imagine a teacher that has a weapon and, like, a student makes fun of them, you know, like, that teacher could go crazy, opposed to having, like, you know, a stronger, like, security system, like, with the school. I don't know, just training, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. Yeah, I mean,
then you get into who's going to pay for the extra security. It's like it's just
like thing. This is how small is this town, right? I mean, let me look up how big this town is, because I think it's interesting because there was a. Did you see that picture floating around of Uvalde? I don't know how you say it. Sorry.
Uvalde.
Their SWAT team is like that picture of their SWAT team. They had all their, like, flak jackets and ARs and stuff, like, posing in a field. There was probably okay. So the town is 16,000 people, right?
Dang.
Wow.
What town was it?
Uvalde.
Is that, like, next to any bigger town or? I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so here's a meme. It's like, this is Uvalde police SWAT team. This community of 13,000 people spends 40% of its municipal budget on the police. Their SWAT team is like 9 people. They're all holding, like, ARs and shotguns, and they're dressed up in all their SWAT gear. And it's like, there was literal cosplay. Reddit. You hate to laugh about any of this, but at the same time, it's just like I saw another meme on Reddit. It was like, you know, here's the Uvalde SWAT team. Is like, too bad the shooter didn't have, like, drugs on him or something. He probably would have gotten taken down. No, and that's, I mean, yeah, not making light of the situation. It's a horrible situation, right. But the comedy is really related to calling out all this shit that we spend the money on, right? Mm-hmm. Like the stuff that, like, is just like, okay, what's really important? I mean, how much does it cost to post 2 of those guys at like the major schools? Like, there's probably one school district here, 16,000 people. I mean, what are we doing?
And what blows my mind even more, it's that small of an area, and there was no type of alert on this kid. He was in chat rooms.
I know.
It's a town of 16,000.
It's like where everyone knows everyone kind of town.
Right.
And you're just like, what is...
Like, at the very least, why was his family not informed
I don't
of
know.
the things he was doing?
Regardless, I just hope everyone's learned something about this, and I'm hoping that the people in authority and the people in power take this seriously, and invoke some kind of reform. No matter what it looks like.
He ended up dying, right?
He killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and, the other thing that doesn't help when like these things happen, because there was another one in Tulsa like a couple days ago, wasn't there? Like another mass shooting where a guy.
It was in a hospital.
went to,
No,
like,
was that
hospital,
one?
medical, medical facility, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, dude, it's so sad because then when these things start getting reported, like I don't know, I just feel like we always focus on the wrong things. Like there was this massive, and obviously it's going to come across so just like horrible from straight white male, but it's like we do this stupid thing where it's like it's all about like make it all about race and all this stuff, and it's like, dude, we just like it's not even about that. Like we gotta chill. Like I understand that, like sure, look into patterns and stuff like that, but it's like it's so annoying where you see certain things that happen, and if it falls into the right box, then the whole thing becomes about that, and then whatever. I mean, it's just it doesn't help anything. Like at some point, we just got to start having like real conversations about like.
Well, sometimes it is about those things, though, right? And it can be about multiple things.
Well, right, yeah. Well, clearly, like all these people are getting radicalized one way or another, and it's like it's all evil, like it's all bad, and it's to make it all about like one thing where it's just like okay. So like for that, I mean that was just popular in America. So it's like this big like there's white because I didn't like.
You're talking about the Buffalo, the grocery store place.
Yeah, well, there's definitely an element of that, and then there was just I don't know. I just remember seeing there was this like this huge thing about like or like Pulse, for instance. So you're saying? Well, yeah, I don't know. It's just who knows? It's just a stupid thing where you just hear like from the White House and from our government that it's like white supremacy is like this massive like is one of the things on the top of the list that we need to like figure out. Like I don't care. Like go after all the evil stuff, but like it feels like so. I guess my whole point is it just feels like even through something as horrible as things like this. Like something like this should be able to unite like a broken country, but somehow it still like further divides us. Where
it's crazy.
Yeah,
no, it's nuts. I mean,
doesn't make sense.
Have you seen? So Carlos Whitaker? He's like a Christian. He's like a motivational kind of influencer guy, whatever. He goes around and speaks. I don't really read a lot of his stuff, but my wife does, and she had posted or she'd kind of read. I don't know what you call it. I'm not into social media. When you show someone else's reel on your thing,
share a story.
Yeah, I'm so far out of it.
It's just funny because you like set up our website, you set up all these.
I know
things.
I'm the wrong person
and everything.
I'm the wrong person to do it.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah. So his comment was, if your first reaction to the news that 18 children and a teacher were slaughtered is to defend anything other than them, it's time to unplug your soul for 30 seconds, plug it back in. Humanity needs a reset. I mean,
yeah.
So he's getting into the same thing you're saying. It's like it should only unite people in support of the children and everything that's happening. It's not to just start defending anything.
But at the same time, trying to figure out how to not let that happen again is also in support of the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Well, I think that comment, just based on the posturing, was probably related to defending gun owners.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I mean it's just a good reminder. It's just like, hey, let's focus on
First thing.
focus on the victims, right? And supporting them.
Right.
Yeah, and there was this one video I saw. This dude completely trolling the NRA guy, whoever runs the NRA.
Oh, you're talking about? Yeah, I think I saw the same
Did you see
video
that?
where he's like at that conference and
He
like,
goes on the mic.
Yeah, he's like, I want to thank you for your for your thoughts and prayers.
He's just like, and he just kept saying it. He was just like, if it wasn't for your thoughts and prayers,
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Thank you so much for your thoughts and prayers. And the dude was confused. He was like, he had RBF, but he was still confused up there. And the dude was like, again, you know, if it wasn't for your thoughts and prayers, we wouldn't.
I mean, it's
you know,
a room full of people too,
Dude.
and there's like a council of people up there.
I know.
Why
It's
does
just like
I mean, he's got a lot of balls.
the dude that was on mic was clearly saying like, "Hey, you're not doing anything about this."
Oh yeah, it was it was very sarcastic.
Yo, he was trolling.
Yeah.
He was just like, you know, wanted to thank, you know, what's his name for just the thoughts and prayers and continued thoughts and prayers.
Basically,
and
like
everything
your
with
thoughts
his
and prayers don't do anything for us at this point.
No, right. Yeah. It's not going to save these kids.
Yeah.
So it's just like, get off your ass and do something.
Make some type of change.
No,
to
but
show
it
us
was,
that you care.
it was funny because the people in front of him, and because it showed him and then it showed
It's
some
so
people.
awkward.
They were, the people in front were like, after he finished, they started clapping. Like they thought he was serious.
Really?
They were the biggest morons. And these are the same morons that own these guns.
Sounds about right.
I'm
yeah.
like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, granted, if it, like, I would probably never be in one of those things, but if I was, it'd be hilarious. I would just be like, start cracking
It's those
up.
people that just think one day someone's just going to march in, not even knock on their door, just walk in, tell me where's the guns, take them all.
Oh my gosh. But the thing is, dude, some people get so far into their own like echo chambers that that's really what they believe. Like they believe that people are telling them that that's what's going to happen.
Right.
It's just nuts.
We got Facebook Live now, folks. We're not doing that.
I
kind of
know,
stuff.
right? So I wanted to ask, what are some of the craziest conspiracy theories you heard of? We're going back to conspiracy theories. Just from, I mean, people close to you, family, could be relatives, could be friends.
My
Anything?
family's really not into conspiracy theories.
I got a few.
Yeah, you do. I could tell. I could tell you did.
My like 1 o'clock, thoughts. So I saw a video the other day. This chick was saying that like, how do we know that we're living in a simulation, right? So long story short, she was talking about how a bus could fit in one lane and have like 3 seats on the left, 3 seats on the right, and an aisle, and some of them are like double deckers.
Yeah.
And her small little like Nissan
Yeah.
could barely fit in a lane. So how can a bus fit in one lane? And she was just saying that
3
it was
seats on each side.
yeah. She was just
I heard
saying that
about
it was
this.
like it's just good coding.
Because you suck at driving is what it is.
Yeah, but I'm
you can't stay in your lane with your Nissan.
Yeah, but if you do this, if you lift up your like put your hands, like that in a bus, you can't reach the end. But if you kind of do it in your car, you could reach all the way to like the passenger side.
Yeah, but if you're also like all the way up against one side of the lane, there's still a pretty big part of the lane that's not being used.
Yeah, I agree.
3 seats and like that's 6.
I agree.
seats.
I think I saw.
So you're telling me you bought into this?
I'm not. No, I'm just playing devil's
gotta be-
advocate.
yeah, exactly. Every
You got a
single
truck.
one.
Your truck is probably like approaching the width of a bus, honestly.
I can't fit 6 people in it, like side by side. I don't know. She just said it's good coding.
Yeah, I think I saw that same thing, and there was like a bus driver that commented on it, and he was like, "I've been wondering this same thing."
Yeah.
Really? A bus driver?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's one of them.
Don't walk around in that city.
It is pretty Yeah, shout out bus drivers. Good job, guys. Thanks for not killing me.
It is like, and you get any, like, especially trucks, because trucks are wider than normal cars, like, especially the big, like, F1, F250s and stuff like that.
I get nervous driving a little U-Haul.
Yeah, the U-Hauls are wide, too. And so it's just like, but the lanes are big enough, right? I mean, they are,
And everybody else
okay.
is just scared of you enough to back away a little bit, give you a little bit of their lane.
Yeah. And if we were really in a simulation, buses could park in a normal parking spot. They can't do that. So,
True.
right? If you're going to use the coding for that, why not like make the bus park in
too
a
obvious.
compact spot?
It's too, we'd notice at that point.
We would notice at that point.
There was another one where it's like, why haven't we ever seen our neighbors putting groceries away?
Dude, I've heard that one too.
Ooh, I like that one.
Right?
I know. I
Like-
talked to that one, and no, I've seen my neighbors put their groceries away, but like maybe once.
I
I don't think
Have you guys
ever-
seen your? But at the same time, how often are you like in your front yard or like
Well, I feel
working
like-
out of your garage or
I
something?
mean, by the time we're putting the groceries away, it's literally, well, you just got to do the math.
1 minute, maybe.
Well, it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe, because the kids come out, they help out, and yeah,
60
that's it.
bags, one hand,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh,
Right.
always.
Yeah.
Fewer trips the better.
Yeah.
Unless they go to Aldi and you don't have bags and everything's just floating around in the back. You're like, ah,
Little
crap.
box.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not very long. So let's say 3 minutes out of a whole day. That's not very long. And you go grocery shopping once every few days. Like, the chances of you catching them doing that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but how long?
I barely catch my neighbor mowing the yard, and that makes a lot of noise, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but like, how long have you been like living to your next door neighbor? Like, I've been living here for
5 years.
Right. And I've been living here for like 3 years and I still haven't seen my neighbor. Like, and I'm like outside for like.
Do they live there?
Who?
They actually live there, or are they snowbird? Like, the people live
Oh,
there?
no. Yeah, they live there. They live there. And I've seen them outside and wave at me, but I've never seen them put groceries away. So I don't know, man.
Okay.
I love these though. So can we continue anymore?
Sure.
Sure.
How do you feel about chemtrails? You got
I
people
don't
in
like
your
those as much.
people in your life that believe in those? I do.
You do?
I have people in my life that believe. I do not believe in them. No.
May you explain what that is?
Wait, yeah. Dive into that.
You don't know what chemtrails are?
I read that same
So-
page you're on.
Yeah. So basically, like they're called vapor trails. Like when planes, are flying in the sky, you see the trail behind them, right? It creates like this condensation and vapor in the sky. It's just water, right?
Okay.
It's like clouds. They're creating mini clouds, artificial clouds that end up dissipating, right?
I've seen them.
Yeah. It's not like smoke. It's not exhaust. It's not like anything they're spraying. But people say that that's the government spraying stuff to like control the population, to make us sick, to like all kinds of reasons, right?
That seems ridiculous.
It is, but there's people that believe it. I mean, dude, and there are these people that I know that just like, it's like if you're a person that believes one of these, you just believe a lot of them. Like, it's just crazy. Like, because it's like you're just the type of person that's just like, yeah, oh, you're right. You're right. And then you bring up another thing like, I did notice that.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, let's just stop thinking for ourselves. Oh, okay.
Oh, hey.
Just
Sorry.
crab?
good.
I'm en route. We're en route to swim with dolphins, but
Oh,
no,
that's sick.
I completely agree. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. But I completely agree because like, the crazy part is like you have the whole like big pharma could be like its own like conspiracy thing, but then you really like look into it and you're just like, well, when you go into the roots of it, it's like it's all for profit. So it's like it makes sense that people would want us sick so they can make us more drugs that we need to be on for the rest of our lives instead of like finding a solution or a cure so we don't need drugs anymore. But it's like I think a lot of people get like a little weird with it because it starts there and it's like, well, yeah, unfortunately these people are like their goal is to make money. They're not here to like cure your sickness.
Yeah.
And then it's like that's like a starting point, and then it just like slowly like morphs into something else.
It
And then by
confirms
the end of it, you're
suspicions,
just
and
like,
then
the
like,
government-
yeah, you're just
the
like,
government's
oh
poisoning us.
yeah, right.
Yeah. You just keep going down and down and down, and then it ends in just like you just get a little wonky.
For sure. Scotty, you got any more?
Yeah, I guess.
Do it.
Why is like the North Pole like highly like there's so many like military like people in North Pole
There
like
is?
protecting it. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, check
Really?
it out. Yeah, see,
That's interesting. We'll come back to that.
yeah.
Well, there's another martial law. You've heard of the martial law thing where it's just like people, all these rumors, every president that gets in, it always seems like we're just like making up some reason that they're going to, enact martial law. The imminent imposition of martial law, longstanding and central plank of the Patriot Catechism of the belief that one day, very soon, federal forces in a league with the states will suspend constitutional government and institute a police state. I mean, I've heard that from a lot of people, and it's funny. All these things are related to patriotism, patriots, which is the far, like a kind of a right-wing idea, which is clearly, I mean, it's just a lot of the same people tend to believe these things, which is insane.
One of these days, we all need to watch that, like the pyramids documentary, because it will mess you up.
Oh gosh, Just.
Oh man.
All right.
What's it called?
I'm telling
We'll
you.
do a podcast on pyramid
Now
documentary
make that
reaction.
thing. 0% chance. And if they did, they were way smarter than us.
0% chance of
Are you
what?
saying the aliens did it?
I'm just saying, our ancestors, just like the people, no chance they built that thing.
You saying they weren't technologically advanced enough?
I don't think we can even build them now as precise as
We
they were
definitely
built.
can't.
Like,
It's because we don't utilize slave labor. I mean, that's all been we can't. We
I'm
don't
saying
do
even
that.
if we had like cranes and stuff, like
No. But that's the thing. There's
a
difference between that and slave labor. So they had like tons of people that were just oppressed, and they made work. It's the same reason like a lot of the Roman Empire has these structures and buildings that can't be recreated with machines yet. And it's just because like you just had massive amounts of slave labor. I mean, people that would die and like
I'm
all.
saying,
I mean,
no,
just
if you're paying people to do it with machines and current technology, I still don't think we could build the pyramids as precisely as like they did.
Well, you think about it, though. I think.
laser cut
I mean,
the rock,
you
but-
think about like Egyptian slaves. Like they were probably harder working than people who were paid to do it. You think about that.
If you also think about it, they had nothing else to do. So
Well,
that was
it's not like they were.
thing.
It's not like they were doing it in their free time. They were slaves. Like
Yeah, but I also feel like they had they're not going to go out to a bar or anything. I feel like they woke up and they're like, what can
well,
we?
people that are paid to do something have a choice of what they want to do with their time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Kinda.
I'm just saying, y'all guys, you got to watch the documentary because I'm doing a horrible job explaining it. But
I
after you
will.
watch
Okay.
It is. It's only 30 minutes. You won't regret it. Well,
We
maybe
can just
you will.
watch
I
it
don't know.
here now that Halo's over on a Thursday.
Oh, so sad. I can't. You said that out loud. It made me sad. Okay. So yeah, another one's door-to-door gun confiscation, which we talked about. Another one, 9/11 as a government plot. Oh boy,
That could be a whole podcast.
I feel
Oh,
like
man.
Justin would really read into this one. I won't say he believes it. I can see it. What do you think, Just?
Hey, sorry, I'm literally on a water taxi. Repeat that.
Oh, sorry. Water taxi.
Where's
sick.
he at?
No, I was saying, do you
Mexico.
think the government had a part in 9/11?
Oh, that's another one where you got to watch Loose Change, and then the hard part is like they present actually a lot of legitimate arguments that you're just like, that's a little suspect, and then you just watch enough of them, and you're just like, I don't know, there might be something there. So again, I think you gotta, people that devoted their like lives to it, like just kind of put together these documentaries and just have, it's interesting.
Yeah.
We got some stuff to watch.
Yeah, no, sounds like we do. Yeah, I know you got to go. So population control is another one that was just like, I've heard that before, where we're trying to like control the population. Some people believe that's what the vaccine was. There's actually it's actually an interesting, I forget if it was like a Stargate episode, but it was just like where everyone was getting this vaccine that like cured everything, and it made people live longer, but it made people infertile. So it's basically reducing the population over a period of time, but it was over such a long time that no one caught on until it was too late. It's like a mind blowing kind of thing. You're like, oh my gosh. But no one's curing cancer, so I'm not suspicious yet.
It's like condoms losing its like people, like stop sperm, so you don't have that many people buying condoms. I don't know, man. It's a whole thing.
All right.
Hot take.
And yeah, it makes sense in
Hot
my head.
take.
Yeah, it makes
Hot
sense
take.
in my head. They're
No, it's
losing
good.
customers with condoms because
I see.
they don't have the sperm reaching the egg.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're saying there's less people around to buy condoms because you're preventing people.
Right.
Weird. Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Interesting.
All right, Justin, we still got you or no? You out?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think we're...
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, I know. You got to get going. So we can let you go. Have fun with the Dolphins.
Tell them I said what's up.
Thanks for being part of the convo. I'm sure a lot of these conspiracy theories, a lot of these themes will just constantly come up on this podcast. So they're just fun to talk about.
They are fun to talk about.
They are.
So, all right. Have a good rest of your vacation, brother. We'll see you back here next week.
Gracias.
See you, dude.
All right, man. Later.
Hey.
That was fun. Yeah. Anyway, do you have any more of those conspiracy?
I do. You ever heard of the Mandela effect?
Have I?
Mandela?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, so it's pretty much
Heard
like
of it, I just don't know what it is.
so the Scotty definition of it is pretty much we remember something that happened, but it never really happened
I'm gonna pull up a few
Yeah,
of
can
these.
you explain it better?
Yeah.
Like while you're doing that.
Oh, like
so-
Shazam?
No, like
yeah. Is it Shaq or was it Sinbad?
No, Sinbad. That movie with the Sinbad was the genie.
Yeah.
I swear that happened.
So the whole thing, I think the whole reason why they call it the Mandela effect is because I remember growing up, Mandela died in prison. Mm-hmm. Like I remember reading
years
it.
before his actual passing.
Right. I remember my mom buying what are those like? There are articles in the shoppings like when you're in line and there's candy, there's soda, and there's like magazines.
Tabloids?
I don't know what it's called.
Are you talking about the ones with like the fake news in them?
I don't know if they were fake news, but some of them were, some of them weren't. But I remember like seeing him dying in prison. Turns out he didn't even die in prison, but I remember that, and like so does like a group of other people remember it. You know, him dying. Did you find it?
Yeah. So it says the Mandela effect. It's basically, like you said, Nelson Mandela dying in a prison years before his actual passing, complete with a televised funeral. However, in reality, Mandela passed away in 2013 from respiratory tract infection. This raised the question, how can so many people, strangers even, have the same memory of something that didn't happen as they remember it? So
Weird.
there's just a bunch of examples. I'm trying to find a couple good ones
I want to hear some.
that like maybe you would.
I got one. There was one that was like in Star Wars. It was like, Luke, I am your father, right? But I think it was some. I forgot. I'm sorry. I gotta look it up. My bad.
That's fine.
Yeah, we didn't prepare to bring up the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Mandela effect. Yeah, it's got my ears perked.
Oh, here, I got the one right here that you were just mentioning. In a galaxy far, far away, the Mandela effect exists. Yes, the phenomenon has even infiltrated Star Wars. While even the most diehard of fans quote a quintessential moment in Return of the Jedi as Darth Vader saying, Luke, I am your father. That's not what he said. In actuality, Vader said, no, I am your father. So some people remember it being Luke, I am your father, but in all actuality, I guess it's no.
I could see that happening because it's probably some dude who did a review on the movie, misquoted it, and then that became the line, right?
Yeah.
Like I could see that. Mm-hmm. Like, you know how like those big like movie review organizations that only existed at the time, you know, like Cisco and Ebert or something like that or whatever. You know, they had those. But yeah, I could totally see that happening. Yeah, the Sinbad one was kind of mind blowing because I mean, everyone thought that was real.
Okay, so like this, for instance, do you remember it being Looney Tunes with 2 O's or Looney Tunes with a U?
2 O's?
No,
It wasn't?
it's with a U. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
This, my friend, is the Mandela effect.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, they did sing a lot, right? They sang, like, stuff. They had, like, random, like, music videos as a part of Looney Tunes.
So, Berenstain Bears or Berenstain Bears?
Berenstein.
Right? No, wrong. A, no E.
Oh, gee. Oh, my gosh.
Did Curious George have a tail?
I don't think he did.
He didn't.
Yeah, because I remember that being a thing. Like, hey,
Okay.
why the heck does this monkey not have a tail? But yeah, I can see how people would think he does because, you know, monkey.
Yeah.
You know, monkey.
Yeah. Well, there's one with the Silence of the Lambs where it's like he never says hello, Clarice.
Really?
Yeah.
What does he say?
Good evening.
Okay.
I swear.
Well, that's just an idiot quoting a movie he got wrong. Like, I see that.
Yeah,
I can
but you-
totally see that happen.
Yeah, but everyone knows hello, Clarice. You know.
I guess.
Did the Monopoly Man have a monocle or not?
Yeah.
No.
What?
Hmm.
He did on future versions, though. He had to have.
I'm telling you, man. After Harambe died,
Hold on.
everything changes.
Hold on.
This might be a simple confusion between him and the Planters Peanut Company's mascot, Mr. Peanut.
But the guy was a peanut. A simple confusion.
What about the guy with Pringles?
One was a dude and one was a peanut. What?
They just had top hats.
Simply, one was an elephant, one was a mouse. Clearly.
Oh, this would have been a good one for Justin. Pikachu's tail. Did it have a black detailing at the end of it or no?
Let me see. I feel like I remember the black.
Yeah, no, nope, wasn't
No?
there. Nope.
Yeah, I was kind of
yellow?
on the border. I thought it might have been just yellow too,
I thought
because
it
I know
had
his
black,
ears
too.
had black on it. I mean, no, hold on. There's got to be some of the later games. I swear the dude had a monocle, and they've even done commercials with him. No way.
Okay, Fruit of the Loom. Did it have a cornucopia behind it or no?
The one to the left.
I feel like it was just the fruit. That's what I feel like.
It was just the fruit.
Okay. I had a lot of underwear that were Fruit of the Loom. So it's so funny. People like dressed up as a Monopoly guy even have a monocle. It's just like clearly this guy would have one. Oh, I swear, dude. What?
I mean, I'm going to fall down the rabbit hole with this one.
I can't believe that. That's
There's one where it's
I feel like someone went on the internet and deleted all the pictures of him with a monocle.
That's what I'm saying.
Now they're trying to claim he didn't have one. It's ridiculous.
There was one where it's like,
Hold
remember
on.
that show back in the day? It was Sex in the City.
Yeah, it's
Sex and the City.
Yep.
Which I could kind of see the mix up on that.
I didn't really
one.
care. I didn't like Sarah Jessica Parker at all. She's such a witch.
You know, in Forrest Gump, he doesn't say life is like a box of chocolates. He said life was like a box of chocolates.
Oh, I didn't know that. There's probably like people who work at like Bubba Gump to get that wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is a good one. I like this.
Like, and it was in Snow White. It wasn't mirror, mirror on the wall. It was magic mirror on the wall.
Everyone does say the double mirror. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow. My mind can't handle all this. Well,
I know.
Well, Gabby's looking at more of those. Do you have any more?
I got a
I know you do.
I got like an arsenal of
You
them.
said you came prepared, so I want to talk about these. It's fine. This one can be an hour
I did
and a
all
half.
my history on the Q anonymous thingy,
Oh, yeah.
but I didn't bring my notes, so my bad.
You can call in sometime.
Yeah. Let's see. What's another one? I don't know, man. It's hard to think on top of my head. From the top of my head.
I imagine it's hard for you to think on top of your head. That seemed like a high thought. Yeah, so yeah, that's funny. Yeah, any more of those conspiracies
Oh man.
That one is good.
on your thing, or you said you had just a
Oh,
list of
sorry.
them?
I'm over here looking at Mandela effects.
Oh no, I was wondering. Was wondering.
I feel like that group that we were talking about earlier in the beginning.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just a bunch of conspiracy theories put all in one.
QAnon.
Yeah.
Well, Q is that was like the dude that all this stuff stemmed from. So it's not like it's a group. It's just that guy, and it's like the people that like believe this anonymous dude.
But like what started people like what what did he do to make people like actually believe him in the first place?
Dude, I don't know how do Reddit groups get started.
I got
It's the
you.
same thing.
I read something where it said that like he predicted that Hillary Clinton was going to get arrested, and then that Monday she gets arrested, and everybody like hopped on board, like in 2017.
Oh, so
But yet
he got like one thing right.
Yeah.
yeah, but yet again, I also feel like it picked up heavily during the pandemic when like nobody had nothing else to do.
Oh yeah.
What is this?
Or
Gabby?
especially with things that would like
What's that on your screen?
like TikTok now. It's like
Yeah,
this one. It just says location at Disney World Castle. If you've ever been to Magic Kingdom, do you recall where the castle is located? Some, even one Orlando local on Reddit, clearly remembers it being the entrance to the park.
The entrance. Okay.
I don't.
It's hard to pull the wool over your eyes when you've been there recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I get maybe how that could, I don't know.
Or maybe a long time ago they thought it was the entrance, and now it's
Interesting.
You think
All I know is they painted to that crappy color. I was so annoyed when they painted it. I mean, the blue part of it looks cool, but then they made it some like tan brown color, and it basically now it just looks like any other Florida house that has tan brown paint.
Can't you like get married in there and stuff?
I'm sure you could if you gave him $1 billion.
Is it a hotel or is it just? Can you go up and?
No. So yeah, there's a room they have up at the top that you can. It's like a suite. Like I forget what the Cinderella suite. And you have to basically win a raffle, like an auction. That's
Can you,
the only
walk
way.
around the park at night and stuff, or no?
I don't know. I think there's so many people that want to do that, though. I've wanted to do that. But, like, I think that you have to win the raffle. There's, like, a raffle or auction that you have to win. You can't pay to go in this suite. Like, I think they've opened it up for, like, Make-A-Wish kids and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's you just can't, like, money can't get you in there.
I like that.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Good on you, Disney.
Good on you, Disney.
You think he froze himself, Walt Disney? Have you heard about that?
Yeah,
one?
but then I heard
No,
he didn't. I don't think he did.
I haven't heard of that. Why would he do that?
Well, he the rumor was that he had cryogenically like frozen himself, like in like liquid nitrogen or whatever, or something really cold. And because he had like a sick, I don't know if it was cancer or whatever, but the hope was that they could figure out how to unfreeze him and cure him later on down the road.
Huh.
And that doesn't like that whole thing doesn't work because you ever like freeze meat and then try to cook it? Like when you thaw meat out, it's totally not the same. It's like
not.
runnier. It's so like it breaks the cell walls. Like the water freezing and expanding breaks the cell walls, and so it's just like you can't recover from that. Yeah. I mean, maybe if you had an animal that had like super strength, like cell walls, maybe you could freeze it and unfreeze it. Because I think there hasn't been animals that are like almost completely frozen and people bring them back.
That's
in
wild.
Miami.
I think I saw a thing. It was a squirrel that
iguanas.
fell in. Okay.
Miami, we have iguanas that like they freeze to death. Well, not to death. They just freeze and they fall off trees, and you're not allowed to touch them. But
They come back.
they come back, dude. I swear.
That's crazy.
They like, boom. They hit
They
hit
freeze
the ground.
like
and
you know what I mean when it gets like below freezing outside, or what? Like when would they freeze?
like during like winter in Miami, which is like honestly, it's like six.
But
like
you can't.
6
Water doesn't
That's
even
what I'm
freeze
thinking.
until
It's like,
32
how do they
degrees
even
Celsius.
freeze in Miami?
I don't know. They do though.
I'm an
That's
idiot.
crazy.
They do.
I meant Fahrenheit. So freezing point of water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So it would have to be that cold, or I mean, which it can get there, like probably in Miami, like once a year, maybe if that.
I gotta look more into it, but I know that
All I know is
they
I'd
just
freak out if an iguana like fell
Fell from the tree, frozen?
Yeah, like next to me or
What
something.
if like one of his limbs breaks off? I guess it wakes up.
don't they grow
Don't they
back?
grow back? Yeah.
Like crap.
Wow.
Are they like lizards?
They
All
are
right,
lizards.
So I'm making a list. So when CRISPR becomes a thing, I want some turtle DNA, whale DNA, iguana DNA. I want all these things. So just be like Death Proof, which is a good movie. It's a Quentin
I
Tarantino.
remember that.
I don't think I know that in one.
Planet Terror and Death Proof. You ever see the double feature? Did you see both of them? It was sick. They had like a 70s. It was a because in the 70s, double features were popular at movie theaters where you'd have one, then you have a break, like an intermission, and then you'd have another movie. So they actually did that like in the 2000s when I was in high school.
What?
Yeah, and so they basically, it was like they had this movie, Planet Terror, which was about alien invasion, Quentin Tarantino. So it was like bloody and gory and stuff, but almost to the point of comedy, right? And then you had like these previews for other fake movies. One was Machete that actually got made, but like then they had these other ones that were just hilarious, like horror movies. And then they had this movie called Death Proof with, who was it? The dude from Overboard. I forget his name. Dang it.
You're older than us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess I am. Anyway, you're way off topic, but I hope everyone enjoyed going down memory lane with us and looking at the Mandela effect.
All types of stuff today.
All types of stuff. I don't even know what I'm going to call this one.
All types of stuff.
All types. Okay. That's maybe in parentheses,
like
other stuff. But yeah, everyone, thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. Just so you're aware, the website is technically live, even though it's very simple right now. And we also have in Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen or watch this, in the description of the podcast, maybe not on YouTube yet, but we have a link to support. If anyone would like to support the podcast, you can. And yeah, I think that was it as far as anything I had to say. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time.